The problem is his judgment, which he clearly has been lacking in as an adult. It's one thing to have foolish, youthful indiscretions, but I'm sorry, you cannot get past. It is not a Nazi-style tattoo. It is the tattoo of concentration camp guards. It is the very worst tattoo you can get if you are getting anything Nazi, and that's a pretty high bar there. So this has been a slow motion train wreck ever since that tattoo and knowledge of it hit the world, and it's only going to get worse. These texts, there are multiple women. Are all those women going to keep their mouths shut from now until Election Day? What do you think, Lauren?
So, when you think about Graham Platner, who wants to unseat Susan Collins, the most moderate Republican probably in the United States Senate, you weren't just listening to some Fox News hit or Newsmax discussion from somebody far right-wing. That was MS Now's Elise Jordan talking about Graham Platner's biggest problem being his lack of judgment as a grown person. And he wants to go take a seat in the United States Senate on behalf of Mainers. We'll see what they have to say about it. I can't wait to hear what George Santos has to say about it. Former United States Representative for New York's 3rd Congressional District, George Santos, joins us now. Thank you so much for being with us. It's great to have you on the show with us.
It's great to be with you, Amy. I got to say that I did not hear that clip before. And when you said that's an MS Now clip, wow, that stings. That stings for them. I mean, yikes.
What do you think about some of the selection, Talarico in Texas? It's just like, I can almost see Talarico maybe working in Maine, but Talarico in Texas doesn't make any sense to me. What is the true north here for Democrats in this midterm?
Look, I'm going to speak from a very, I can relate to a little bit of this about lack of judgment, right? Because I think I've displayed some of that in the past. So let's be candid here and not be obtuse about the facts. There is no way, shape, or form that there should be a place for a person like this to represent anyone in the United States Senate. Now, on the case of Talarico, obviously he's not insane in the sense of the way he conducts himself. I think he's insane in his policy approach. I agree with you. I think he would be more Talaricos in Maine would have worked better for Democrats, but I'm glad that they're not smart, that they put this absolute train wreck against Susan Collins. So I sit here, look, I am a Susan Collins apologist, and I get a lot of heat for that in the base. I think she does as much as she can to, and to quote Newt Gingrich, it's not about electing the most conservative person, it's the most electable conservative person where they're running. And I think that is Susan Collins for Maine. So I look at this and I think, what goes through the Democrats' mind? I think the reason they went with Platner in Maine was they wanted to contrast the Republican organic Chad, Broy, the dude vibe, right? So they picked this dude, like tattoos, kind of like rough around the edges. But then his tattoos are Nazi homages. His tattoos are legit representative of concentration camps. Then he has an absolute personal issue with the way he conducts himself in his love life. Then he has an obsession with porta parties and let's not talk about that on radio.
Yeah, no kidding.
And then to add insult to injury, he has a Kick account, which, by the way, I'm too old to know what Kick is, so I had to go ask like the youngsters. I'm like, "What's Kick?" And they're like, "Oh, it's just like another text messaging app that's guided more towards kids." Although there's this anonymity element to it, which creates an opportunity for predators to swarm it. So I'm just like, where did they find this guy in the back? Like, is Backpage back up and running? I didn't know. It's almost like they did a Backpage Craigslisting ad search and found this guy to run.
Took the first guy who applied for the job. It doesn't make any sense to me. And, it's frustrating to me as somebody who is conservative, watching what gets thrown against some of our candidates, even our president, gets kind of manifested and manufactured against him to try to nail him against the wall about something. And they call him a fascist Nazi. And this guy has a fascist Nazi tattoo on his body that I only presume that he elected to put. What reality timeline are we living in right now?
My head explodes just the thought, exploding head emoji.
Yeah.
It's like, what is going on? Like, this isn't like, oh, he was a Steeler. I think he's a Steeler Marine. I forgot. I'm sorry. But he's an Army man, and that's what they – I'm like, no. Most Army men have the discernment to know what a Nazi tattoo is and what is not. He chose to put that there. Look, God bless the Democrat Party. but they just can't seem to figure out what is the proper way to connect with the voters. I thought last year that we were going to win the midterms. Then I got a little cold feet, but I didn't say anything. It's not looking good. Historic numbers. And when you look at it, but now I'm bullish. I think we're not just going to maintain both majorities, but I think we're going to grow it. I think, look, yes, gas is a pressure point, but nothing trumps gas like a man saying that women are, neighbors who can gestate. Like, that's a Talarico actual verbatim quote. Gestating neighbors are now what they call women in Talarico's vernacular. So that, please, Democrats, more of that.
Yeah,
I really urge you to.
In-kind contribution to the GOP moving into the midterms. George Santos with us
Absolutely.
right now, former United States representative for New York's 3rd Congressional District. You know, I have this theory. I was kind of thinking about this, listening to some news coverage on the way into work today, and they were talking about these candidates specifically for the Democrat Party and just kind of going, what is their plan? There seems to be such a huge piece of the pie that it should be so obvious that's missing that would make this make sense that is clearly still missing. And my philosophy on this right now is that in order for the Democrat Party to live from a policy standpoint where their voters are, they'd have to be more moderate. They can't be these far left activist progressives. And the truth of the matter is Donald Trump, who is an America First populist president, has some policies that would rub elbows with people who are on the fiscally moderate to maybe even conservative left Democrat base. And they're so terrified of even winking towards the idea that Donald Trump has done something right that what you're left with is Platner and Talarico, which is a losing equation, I think, for the Democrats this midterm.
Look, I think you're spot on. The rare occasions that you'll see a Democrat coming and actually complimenting the president, these are little spouts of sobriety, and I think they have almost a sort of epiphany. And that's like the Representative Glueson-Kemperas out of Washington. Sometimes you'll see it happen from Ro Khanna, but I'm not going to get into Ro Khanna. I get in trouble every time I compliment Ro Khanna. I like the guy, I got to say, but we disagree on politics a lot of times. Sure. But then you got Jared Moskowitz in Florida. You have some of Josh Schottheimer in New Jersey. You have a few moments of sobriety coming from these guys. But then, Hakeem Jeffries whips them back into shape and say, no, you don't get to do this. Look, at the end of the day, Democrats would have gained so much more if they worked with Trump. But the problem was the old guard of Chuck Schumer's and Steny Hoyer's and Nancy Pelosi said, no, we're not going to work with him, or else we're going to destroy the identity of our party, which would have been a great thing for America if Democrat, Republican all kind of just went away and it was all about America, regardless of, political differences, that we gained so much more. But unfortunately, the left has now chosen to make Bill Clinton look like an America First MAGA former president. On policy, at least. On policy, at least.
Here we are. It's amazing. George Santos speaking with us right now. Before we let you go, and we're really grateful for your time. We love having you on the show and to be able to have this conversation with you. One of the things that I've loved about following you and what you choose to put out on social media is that you speak truth as you see it. You are unvarnished, and it seems as though you're unpersuaded by people who might disagree with you to couch how you present what you see as truth to us who get to consume it. And you've been in Congress. You've mentioned Democrats here, and you've even said, I like the guy. Maybe our politics don't match up at all, but they're still good people. That's America through and through right now. We all have, I always call them our Thanksgiving table Democrats. They're the uncles, the aunts that we love more than we hate each other's politics. Tell us what you see, what you've experienced. Tell us what we need to hear, even if we don't necessarily want to hear it, about how to actually get away from the crazy, barbaric division that we have right now in politics. Like, if we want to be a party going forward that's going to get the work done for the American people, how do we see our neighbors, especially going into this 250th birthday celebration of our country?
I'll say this. First of all, thank you and for anybody who follows me on social media. I have become quite, I've taken the truth will set you free to another level that I've actually lost a few filters along the way. I get in more trouble than I don't when I say things, but it's just, I can't hold it back anymore. I feel like I've committed some poor choices and decisions in the past that have led me now to say, like, you know what, it's either the truth or bust. And sometimes a couple of big F-bombs drop in between, and I need to work on that. But and I'm aware. But I will say this, having sat there, having been in those rooms, I've learned one thing and one thing only. The theatrics need to stop. And the American people need to stop assisting the self-aggrandizing ego that these members of Congress have, because this division stems from the U.S. House of Representatives. The Senate's a more geriatric body, which is actually quieter at most times. Yeah. So if you don't ruff their feathers too much, they won't be complaining about, why is my putting that here? And let's talk to the House, because the House is where the action is, where the college happens, right? And I think we need to stop adding to the self-aggrandizing egos that all those 435 lovely megalomaniacs have. We need to make sure that they are humbled and reminded, you work for us. You are overemployed, sir, ma'am. You have 700,000 bosses, give or take, in which district you're in. And I think that's the attitude we need to employ. We need to make sure that they understand we control it. So, look, I love Thomas Massie. Disagree with him on some of his semantics, but I love the guy. President Trump made a choice. And I think if that serves as a, hey, dude, if you're not going to play on the team, that's kind of okay, but be quiet. Don't be obtuse about it. And I think that's a valuable lesson, that the voters have the power. Whether we agree or disagree with that, Amy, yeah. I'm just giving you an example of the voters have the power. And I think it's important for us to do that because, look, America divided, America falls. We will be beating the Roman Empire, the Ottoman Empire, and many more who have caved before the 250th anniversary. We're beating those odds. And I want to see, I won't live for it, but I would love to know that we're on course for another 250 after this Jubilee.
Oh, it's incredible. And I hear you say 435 members of Congress that need to learn that lesson. So you didn't parse it by party. It's all of them. And that's our responsibility. We, the people, need to speak up and have our voices be heard and remind all of them who they work for. And it's us.
Most important words, Amy. Yeah. We, the people. Very important for people to know that.
Amen. Well, thank you so much. It's great to talk to you, George Santos. We'd love to have you back again sometime.
Absolutely. Anytime. Thank you, Amy.
Take care. Bye-bye.